So verse 69. Okay, 2.69. या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागर्ति संयमी यस्यां जागृति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. But there are two classes of intelligent men. One is intelligent in material activities for sense gratification, and the other is introspective and awake to the cultivation of self-realization. Activities of the introspective sage or thoughtful man are night for persons materially absorbed. Materialistic persons remain asleep in such a night due to their ignorance of self-realization. The introspective sage remains alert in the night of the materialistic man. The sage feels transcendental pleasure in the gradual development or advancement of spiritual culture, whereas the man in materialistic activities, being asleep to self-realization, dreams of varieties of sense pleasure, feeling sometimes happy and sometimes distressed in his sleeping condition. The introspective man is always indifferent to materialistic happiness and distress. He goes on with his self-realization activities undisturbed by material reactions. Okay, so night means both ways. Literally night also, which means that introspective stage or devotees for that matter. So we have to get up at 4 o'clock, which is night, possibly midnight for materialistic people, because they would have slept at like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, which is totally unearthly. So one is literally the sleeping and awakening or waking up times. That is one. The second thing that Srila Prabhupada is talking about in the purport is the activities. So what the activities of the introspective stage are like night, which means that they don't engage in those kind of activities, right? They are asleep. So the materialistic persons don't engage in activities like that of a introspective stage, and vice versa. So here Prabhupada is making it very clear, saying, like for example, materialist dreams of various sense pleasures, feels happy, sometimes distressed. This is materialistic activities. Whereas the introspective stage, he does not engage in such activities. In fact, he engages in activities of self-realization, which are literally night for the materialistic person. More importantly, he is always indifferent. This is a very, very important word, indifferent to materialistic happiness and distress. He goes on with his self-realization activities undisturbed by material reactions. Material reactions means happiness and distress. He goes on undisturbed. So these two words are very, very important, undisturbed and indifferent. We are so concerned about our material situation. Sometimes it's overwhelming, right? How much we are worried about our material situation. But Prabhupada is writing here, if we are introspective, then we should become indifferent. What does indifferent mean? Don't care. Literally, we should not care for material happiness and distress. Subsequently, also in Bhagavad Gita, there is a description of devotees without cares. Without cares. Without cares means he just doesn't bother. I mean, okay, what is happening to me materially, problem, happiness, distress? No, he's indifferent. Yeah, happiness, okay. Distress, okay. What is important? I go on with self-realization activities. Undisturbed. Undisturbed. Like I was thinking about this, like if we have a simple headache, we become disturbed. Our activities of self-realization get hampered. right? We say, oh, I have a headache, I can't chant, I can't hear, I can't read, I can't do this, I can't do that. I need a medicine. We take tablet. And we want to take some rest. Simple headache. So, I mean, we should understand what stage we have to reach. Right? Literally undisturbed. Like, we remember one past time when there's bombing in Calcutta and people were all like, very worried and running hither thither. Some people came to call Srila Prabhupada, that he was just undisturbed. He said, okay, that bomb is also Krishna. And it was prasadam time. He said, okay, I'm going to honor prasadam. Krishna doesn't want me here. The bomb will kill me. I mean, so clearly, like out of this world. We should come to that actually. Unfortunately, this is Brahmabhuta. Brahmabhuta stage itself is seems like like a different world for us. Simple material problems, we become disturbed, or at least even if we are not disturbed, it affects our activities of bhakti. But we have to really practice. This is a matter of practice. Actually, see, the whole thing is this is all because of mental concoction. This whole concept of happiness and distress is mental concoction. Mental concoction means that I feel happiness in my mind, so it is happiness. I feel distress in my mind, so it is distress. It's so simple, right? Like, and if you just think, okay, this thing which is giving me distress, no, it's not going to give me distress anymore. I mean, it's as simple as that, right? It's just because it's a concoction. It's something that the mind is just making up, saying that, oh, okay, you know what, this is not good for you. So we can simply ignore it, because if we are engaged in the service of Krishna, we don't have to really bother about our material happiness and distress, because at the end of the day, we have to engage in Krishna service. So if we can engage in Krishna service, irrespective of whether we have material happiness or distress, that's what we should be aiming for. So then if we are anyway able to practice bhakti, then why bother about material happiness, distress? We become indifferent. And when we become indifferent, eventually the material happiness and distress stop. Because it doesn't matter now whether there's happiness or distress. This person is going on in his activities of bhakti, so why trouble him? So over a period of time, Krishna takes away all. Right? Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja am tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayashyami. Then he will take away all our happiness and distress, material happiness, distress. But we should work towards it. This is a matter of sadhana. It's a matter of practice. We will try in small and big situations. Interestingly, the other day I was taking some Ayurvedic medicine, and doctor had given me some cleansing medicine. And I had to go to the loo so many times, and I was like super tired by the end of it. Like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I was like tired and no food intake, and I was feeling like very weak. I was thinking, oh, I mean, this itself like is disturbing me. What will death be like? How will I be able to deal with it? At the current stage, I mean, though it looks like like I have no hopes of remembering Krishna. I mean, unless Krishna shows his causeless mercy and makes me remember him. So simple things like this, we should figure out. Okay, day in day out things that we are experiencing. Am I able to remain Krishna conscious? It's so important, right? I mean, if you can't practice now, when will you practice? So that's why I keep saying, Prabhupada's purports are so thought-provoking. Really, I mean, like just these two statements should make us think, oh, what is it? How am I living? Is this how Prabhupada expects me to live? Is this how I will achieve any perfection in this life? Right, so very important. So when you are reading Prabhupada's books, please read every statement and try to understand how it impacts me. We are not, of course, I mean, we are reading purpose for knowledge as well, but knowledge for what? Finally, for personal application. So if you simply read introspective, is always indifferent to material. Okay, I know this. But what about me? What about my own application of this principle? That's the most important. That's when we make progress. That's when we bring about changes in our life, right? Otherwise, we could be reading this and say, I've read this before. Hey, it's not. You're not reading this for knowledge. We are reading this for change, to bring about a change in ourselves. So nice, right? Just 2 sentences will tell us how we need to deal with all our material happiness and distress. What is the solution? Just become indifferent to it. Oof. So much of trouble we are going through. Prabhupada is saying, just become indifferent. Don't bother about it. Just focus on your bhakti. Amazing, right? Like liberation. This line is liberating. Any thoughts? Anybody? Okay, so all of us are ready to implement or are already implementing this in our lives. Very nice. Okay, 2.70. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudramapa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarvesha shantimapnoti na kamakami. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. So anybody thinking I will exhaust my desires, please think again. We might take lifetimes to exhaust all our desires. Okay, although the vast ocean is always filled with water, it is always, especially during the rainy season, being filled with much more water. But the ocean remains the same, steady. It is not agitated, nor does it cross beyond the limit of its brink. That is also true of a person fixed in Krishna consciousness. As long as one has the material body, the demands of the body for sense gratification will continue. The devotee, however, is not disturbed by such desires because of his fullness. A Krishna conscious man is not in need of anything because the Lord fulfills all his material necessities, not desires, necessities. Therefore, he is like the ocean, always full in himself. Desires may come to him like the waters of the rivers that flow into the ocean, but he is steady in his activities and is not even slightly disturbed by desires for sense gratification. That is the proof of a Krishna conscious man, one who has lost all inclinations for material sense gratification, although the desires are present. He has lost inclination, but he remains satisfied in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. He can remain steady like the ocean and therefore enjoy full peace. Otherwise, however, who want to fulfill desires even up to the limit of liberation or to speak of material success never attain peace. The fruity workers, the salvationists, and also the yogis who are after mystic powers are all unhappy because of unfulfilled desires. But the person in Krishna consciousness is happy in the service of the Lord, and he has no desires to be fulfilled. In fact, he does not even desire liberation from the so-called material bondage. The devotees of Krishna have no material desires, and therefore they are in perfect peace. Zero material desires. Okay, so this is very important. Yeah, he's not disturbed. So though there are desires, so most important thing is though there are desires, there's no inclination for sense gratification. So desire is there, but he'll just like not give it attention. He'll not show an inclination to fulfill that desire. And also he is not disturbed by those desires because of his fullness. He's full in Krishna consciousness. He's full in Krishna consciousness because Krishna will give him whatever is required for him. Whatever is required for him to keep body and soul together, Krishna will give him. So he doesn't have any real desires, any material desires. He's steady in his activities. That is the proof of a Krishna consciousness. So just summarizing this state of mind, right? So there might be material desires, but he has no inclination for fulfilling them. He is not disturbed by them as well. And because of his fullness in Krishna consciousness, so he's steady in his activities of Krishna consciousness, in spite of desires coming and going. So everybody is, Siddhikami, Mokshakami, etc. But the devotee doesn't have any desire, no material desire. Like I said, no expecting happy family, healthy body, yeah, etc., etc. The list. No expectations. So since he has no material desires, and Krishna is taking care of his basic needs. He is peaceful, happily engaged in Krishna conscious activities. Desires are coming, but he doesn't. He just ignores them, saying, "Yeah, this is bondage. I don't want this." And he has that spiritual strength. This we'll understand. End of 3rd chapter, last verse. How to overcome lust. He has a spiritual strength and spiritual intelligence to do that because of his sadhana. Okay, so we should not have even iota of material desire, because then we will never achieve peace. Then we will never remain steady in our Krishna conscious activities. And we might also end up indulging in these activities if we are not full in Krishna consciousness. So all these have to happen hand in hand. One has to be full in Krishna consciousness. Full means fully engaged, satisfied, happy. Param drishtva nivartate. Experiencing a higher taste. Then there won't be any inclination, because okay, no, I'm getting my required happiness. I don't need to involve in this sense gratificatory process for that. So I'm going to let go of this, ignore this desire.